Disclaimer, this video is not legal advice, nor is it based in legality whatsoever. Although I am here to raise concern and discuss some pretty heavy subject matter, this video is ultimately based in entertainment. There may be some phrasing or word choice that is spoken or written in a hyperbolic or exaggerated manner, but nothing is to slander any parties that are discussed throughout the duration of this video. I interviewed Mascot Bro Studio in preparation for this video. This is the story they gave me of who they are and how they started. Mascot Bro Studio was started by two freelancers, both of which have prior experience in game development, and one of which has more experience in marketing. Mascot Bro became a reality after they attempted to pitch their upcoming game Circus of TimTim to other publishers, but couldn't get the project picked up. So they decided to start up their own small company and get other developers with games with similar aesthetics and themes on board, so those developers wouldn't have to go through the same grueling process. As of right now, Mascot Bro has published 2 games from different devs and 1 game they developed themselves. They also have 3 confirmed games on the way, so they are showing no sign of slowing down. Mascot Bro is currently responsible for 6 games and 5 different developers, and that's pretty crazy. But before we proceed, allow me to introduce you to the developers that are currently having their work published by Mascot Bro. The most prominent member of the roster at the moment is TNP Games. TNP Games was previously most known for their game Maze of Bouncy Bear, as well as Handy Dan's Lair, a game based on the character created by YouTuber Yeah. Both of these games received a decent amount of attention on YouTube, but they've made other games such as Happy Land and the anti-Garten of Banban fan game Cartel of Banban. They are now responsible for Playtown. Next up is Combo Bomb Games. Combo has been around for a while, but not many of their games received much attention. They made a handful of small indie horror games with free-to-use models, mostly based on other existing media like Chucky, SpongeBob, and others. However, they also made a mascot horror game called Happy Place. They are now responsible for Toytopia, which started as a remake of Happy Place. Next is Unreal Games, who is a really interesting case. Unreal Games is also known as Unreal University. They are a YouTuber who has been making game development tutorials for years. Some of their videos have a lot of views, and it's very clear that they are the most qualified and experienced person under Mascot Bro at the moment. They are currently responsible for Bobo's Fun Zone. Lastly, there's Stop Shut Games, who is such an anomaly in this group because they are not making a mascot horror game. They are making a game called Tilt, which is a puzzle platformer heavily, and I mean heavily, inspired by Portal. They are also a YouTuber with a history of making content about game development. It's very strange that Mascot Bro signed them, but Stop Shut Games did make a video about upcoming mascot horror games where Mascot Bro's games were very prominent, so that likely led to a business-type relationship. So that's what Mascot Bro Studio is, and who they work with. There's a weird variety of people here, and the quality of some of these games is very questionable, but realistically, why would I bother talking about this? Hi there. Skip to the timestamp on screen if you want to get back to the video. I just have a quick message for you. For one, thank you for clicking on the video at all. This is a video I put quite a bit of effort into because I genuinely deem the subject very important, so if you could like and subscribe and share it with your friends or something, I would really appreciate it, as it would help me out, but also I think it's important that people hear about this information. But also, I have said recently that I want to start producing more exclusive content for my channel members. Well, as soon as this video goes live, my blind playthrough of Circus of TimTim will be available exclusively for members. There are guest appearances from Yeah, David Barron, and Gaming Age. If you want my blind playthrough of the game, some of my thoughts on it, and some fun appearances from the homies, be sure to become a channel member for less than $5 a month. I appreciate the support, and back to the video. There are a lot of bad mascot horror games, as well as plenty of studios that have questionable practices. So, why is this video even happening? If you know me, you know I've played the worst mascot horror games ever made. I have truly scraped the bottom of the barrel. I put a hole in the bottom of the barrel, digging for more. So, why am I talking about Mascot Bro Studio? Well, because I believe there is a tremendous risk of literal child endangerment here, and other practices that should not go under the radar merely because this is a smaller studio than one like Mob or Steelwool. There's something really wrong going on here. There are 2 significant details to this story that I've been leaving you in the dark on. That is what Mascot Bro takes and provides to their developers, and the ages of said developers. TNP Games is very infamously 14 years old. They have made no attempt to hide that, and neither has Mascot Bro. Combo Bomb Games, I unfortunately cannot confirm the age of. However, it is highly speculated and likely that they are roughly the same age. If you trace back their history and behavior on the internet, it really only makes sense if they are a very young age, as well as that they were close friends with TNP Games until recently, so it is a more than safe assumption that they are around the same age. When I discussed this with Mascot Bro Studio, they claimed that the parents and legal guardians of the developers had to sign the contract due to their age. So, according to Mascot Bro, the parents, who are obviously responsible for their child, are aware of and agreeing to the contracts. This would be a very bold thing to lie about, and I cannot prove or disprove anything, so I am inclined to believe they're telling the truth. I cannot fathom the idea of a real parent hearing everything we are about to talk about and agreeing to the terms, but if this is in fact the truth, then Mascot Bro at the very least seems to be doing everything in a perfectly legal manner. However, to kick this right off, Mascot Bro Studio should not be approaching, let alone signing, anyone underage to their company. That is reckless and irresponsible for a variety of reasons. 1. If you go to an aspiring game developer that is still young enough to be easy to influence, they will practically agree to any deal that you give them, whether or not it's actually in their best interest. 2. The blame for any actions of these young developers is now placed on you. You have made them a part of your company and brand, and are actively attempting to represent them, and it's more than likely for a young teenager to make a lot of mistakes. I would know. I have very much been there. 3. A child is not ready to be put on a large platform. Thankfully, Mascot Bro isn't able to provide that large of a platform, but this point still stands. No matter what you think of the maturity of the child or how highly the child thinks of themselves, you are irresponsible for putting said child under a ridiculous amount of pressure by making an active effort to put them and their work in the public eye. There's a long list of other reasons that a publisher shouldn't be finding minors making itch games on the internet and signing them to bigger deals, but I don't think anyone will contest that, so I don't feel the need to continue on that point. Except I still need to tell you about what Mascot Bro Studio actually does for these developers. I asked them to tell me exactly what they provide to their developers, and this is the list they gave me. Although they are too small of a studio to actually fund games, there are cases where they are willing to help fund a part of development, such as paying for voice actors, modelers, artists, etc. Whether or not this has been applicable to any of the currently released games is unclear. They will port games to platforms. I assume they are just referring to putting the games on Steam, because if they mean anything else, then that just hasn't happened. This is likely most applicable to the underage developers, because selling a game on Steam is probably much harder if not impossible if you are under 18. Whereas a game like Bobo's Fun Zone, which is definitely being made by an adult, was already on Steam prior to being acquired by Mascot Bro. They create graphics and promotions for the games, they create trailers for the games, they handle content creator outreach, and run ads for marketing of the games. As far as making graphics and trailers go, they seem to do that. There is plenty of promotional material on their YouTube channel and other socials. Whether or not they reach out to content creators or pay for actual advertising in the traditional sense, I have no idea, but I fully believe them on that front. I don't think they would lie about that. They claim to handle and create storefronts, however, this has not happened. Though, Mascot Bro is still pretty new as a publisher, so it would make complete sense to me if they have not had the time or ability to fulfill that claim. However, that probably shouldn't be something they sell themselves on until they've done it at least once. Lastly, they claim to handle every aspect of the business side of things, using their own money while the developers simply develop. I have no idea how much that actually entails, but that makes complete sense to me. So that all seems pretty normal. Mascot Bro Studio knows exactly what they are doing as a publisher, and seems to be fulfilling essentially all of the promises they make. So the purpose of this video is not to say that Mascot Bro is completely scamming these developers with false promises. However, does Mascot Bro actually do enough is still a valid question. Because, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, Mascot Bro Studio takes a sizable 40% of revenue from the games being sold, and this is after Steam takes 30%. So, say Playtown sells for $8 USD, only $5.60 is left after Steam takes their cut, and then only $3.36 is left after Mascot Bro Studio takes their cut. So therefore, the developer, who is 14 years old and did basically all the work, gets $3.36 per sale on the $8 product that they made. And another really bad part of this is that TNP Games and Combo Bomb Games have both said publicly that they don't even pick the price of their games. Which is unfair for them, because it makes them look really bad. Because with all due respect, these games are not worth $8 plus. And the developers themselves know this. That's why they've spoken about it. But Mascot Bro Studio is going to choose to make them that price, so that way everyone makes more money, even if they didn't really earn that much with the quality of the product. And Mascot Bro in particular has most definitely not earned that much of the revenue. Because although Mascot Bro seemingly hasn't lied about any of their claims for what they provide, their efforts are ultimately completely meaningless. Take the most recent teaser trailer for Playtown 2, where the release date is confirmed. Mascot Bro may have made that trailer, I have no idea, but it still doesn't really matter because the developer, TNP Games, is absolutely capable of making a trailer of equal quality. And the upload of said trailer got 30,000 more views on the developer's channel than it did on the publisher's channel. The viewership for all of the teasers and trailers is astronomically higher on the developers' channels, so is Mascot Bro actually bringing in nearly enough sales to justify taking 40%? All of these developers, including the literal children, were able to create, market, and sell their games without Mascot Bro, and Mascot Bro clearly brings in such a small amount of extra players that the deal is basically useless, especially when, again, they take 40%. Not to mention that the developers of Bobo's Fun Zone and Tilt are literally YouTubers. Granted, they aren't massively successful YouTubers, but they are absolutely capable of driving at least 1,000 times the amount of traffic to their games than Mascot Bro is. I have no idea why they as adults would agree to this deal, but whatever, that's their decision to make. However, even if somehow, for some reason, parents agreed to sign the deal that they put forward, does Mascot Bro really not see anything wrong with taking a 14-year-old developer that is doing perfectly fine on their own and taking 40% of their revenue despite how little they actually provide? TNP Games, at the very least, was already selling games on itch before moving to Steam with Mascot Bro, and if they can get over 150,000 views on a trailer for a game, what do they actually get from being with Mascot Bro? I am not blaming TNP Games for taking the deal, because again, they are just a child. But that's exactly the problem. Whether or not Mascot Bro is purposely taking advantage of younger developers, they absolutely are doing so, because they simply have not justified the percentage they take. But with all that being said, there are other reasons Mascot Bro Studio should not be working with some of these developers. Unfortunately, although this is such a small operation, there are many more issues that we have to discuss. So let's move on. Around the start of this year, one of Mascot Bro's developers, arguably their current biggest and most successful developer, TNP Games, found themselves in some pretty bizarre controversy. It all started when their game Playtown was brought up in a tweet one day. It was criticizing games in the mascot horror genre, and it claimed Playtown was just another Poppy Playtime ripoff, undeserving of its success. TNP replied to this tweet in a pretty inoffensive and trolly way. The original tweet was purposely disrespectful towards them, so I see no issue with this simple jab back. However, after this very simple engagement, TNP just went on a weird, homophobic rampage, making fun of people with elementary school level gay and furry jokes. But if you remember just a matter of minutes ago, we know that TNP is just 14 years old. So one, this isn't very surprising because of that, but also, although these actions are worthy of criticism and they are bad, it is hard to really take that seriously. This is just an immature kid using very basic bigoted language that's honestly difficult to get offended by. All we can do is hope that they grow out of this and behave better in the future. However, this is far from the end of the story. Following the drama, the TNP Games Twitter account claimed that the person that was starting all of this and spewing hateful rhetoric was actually not the original person with the username ThatNerdPunk, but a member of the team with access to the Twitter account. This member of the team was removed and everything was handled. And when I discussed the controversies of their developers with Mascot Bro Studio, Mascot Bro claims that they did in fact discuss these matters with the developer and actively put a stop to it, apologizing and claiming that no one at Mascot Bro holds any of these bigoted views. I don't necessarily believe Mascot Bro to be lying about this. However, the thing is, the problem never actually stopped. In February through March 2024, after the original controversies, TNP Games was consistently exposed for using extremely racist rhetoric, among a couple of other things. We discovered that he confessed that the team member excuse was a lie. Who would have thought? None of this is surprising, but what was truly surprising was their response. They actually apologized. They admitted that it was them as opposed to shifting the blame to a non-existent team member, and said that they were willing to work on themselves to be a better person. And you know what? That's great. They are only 14 after all. If they actually see the error in their ways, I'm willing to accept that apology. But there's more, because of course there's more. This is still going on, and hasn't stopped, and clearly won't stop. I am writing these specific words that you are hearing on April 8th, 2024, and less than 24 hours ago, TNP Games was defending their use of the N-word in Twitter replies, and straight up saying, it ain't racist as long as you don't hate black people. Hating black people is in fact racist, but you can still say and do racist things that aren't straight up hating black people. As well as that, you can say and do things that aren't explicitly about hating black people, but still carry that underlying message. So this argument is dogshit in every conceivable way. But again, this is a 14-year-old child, and I don't really care that much if a 14-year-old is being racist and or homophobic. I hope and pray they grow out of that, and their words are disgusting, but their words and actions are also kind of inherently meaningless because of who they are and what age they are. But you know who absolutely has to be held responsible for their actions? Mascot Bro Studio. If what Mascot Bro said during our interview was any kind of sincere, they would cut ties with TNP Games without any hesitation. Not only that, if this developer is willing to lie about it not being them to the public, that is also a clear indicator of their lack of care for the situation, and their inability to take responsibility. Again, we have already discussed and will discuss again that they shouldn't be signing with minors in the first place, but this inappropriate behavior from one of their devs rests on their shoulders inherently as the publishers. TNP Games literally said in their apology a couple weeks before doubling down on the racism that if they mess up again, they should be cancelled. And I don't believe in canceling. I don't believe in cancellation. But if they are truly willing to take that fall and take that accountability, why don't you kick it into gear by removing your support of their platform? Because that is deserved. Mascot Bro claimed in our interview to take this seriously, and I genuinely believed them at the time. After our interview happened, I was legitimately willing to be much more charitable with this video, but now they need to prove that their morals are more important to them than that 40% of revenue they take from this developer. Toytopia is one of 3 mascot horror games Mascot Bro Studio has published as of now. It was developed by Combo Bomb Games and released February 19th, 2024. And hot take alert, I don't think this game is bad at all. The location in this game is based around magicians and magic shows, and that leads to 2 features that are some of my favorite parts of any modern mascot horror title. I genuinely adore the design of the main antagonist. I think it's cute, it's pretty simple, it's recognizable, it's thematically fitting. In the world of post-ban mascot horror, I really think this design stands out as a great one. And one of this game's main gimmicks is a magic wand that you can use to interact with the environment. It could definitely be utilized better, but I think it's a pretty solid idea. There's a very brief platforming section that isn't even really platforming based because it's actually about using the magic wand to change the positioning of the platforms to make it across a large gap. This is pretty cool in my opinion. I'd love to see this fleshed out more. I think the developer of this one has potential, and this game is totally passable. Not necessarily good, but totally passable. At least it was passable until 4 days after launch with the release of version 1.2. This made the game more optimized, which is great. It fixed bugs, which is great. It added some additional lore, which is great. And it also made the game unbeatable. There is a sequence in Toytopia with sit and survive type of mechanics, where a black bear character will run down one of these 3 paths, and you have to use a camera to flash a light on him to stop him from attacking you. On launch, this section was totally doable. The character would frequently get stuck, which was bad, but it was an okay sequence. But the release of version 1.2 made the character so obscenely fast that it is quite literally impossible. If you stay as far back as possible, you will never be able to combat him coming from the left or right, and if you stand closer to the middle, you will never be able to react fast enough to survive. I think that if you got the incredible and perfect luck that led to the character always attacking from the middle path, it would be theoretically possible. However, I could not even imagine what the chances of that happening are, so it's not even worth entertaining the possibility of this being beatable. On the launch day of the game, this part is totally fine. And the increased speed of the character, hilariously, isn't even in the patch notes of the version 1.2 update, but it was very obviously changed, and changed so aggressively that no players are able to beat it. This has never been changed after 2 months, and the developer has essentially confirmed that it is not going to change. In a live stream of mine, where Combo Bomb Games was in chat, I brought up that Toytopia should not be allowed on Steam due to it being unbeatable, and literally all they said was, yeah. As well as that, they recently released an itch game that they made in a single day, and they are also teasing an upcoming game via Twitter. Yet, Mascot Bro Studio continues to sell Toytopia for $8. Again, Mascot Bro Studio continues to sell an unbeatable game whose developer has abandoned it for $8. This is not meant to target Combo Bomb Games. Like I said, unlike TNP Games, I have no verification as to how old they are, but they are more than likely very, very young, likely a similar age. And they are genuinely very kind. They had a weird situation where they were being a dick to Squeaks DeCorge, creator of Shipwreck64. That was goofy, that was dumb, but I'm willing to ignore that. They are pretty active in my community, and they seem to be a very sweet person. I would love to see them continue their journey as a game developer, both because I legitimately think they have potential, and also because I think they are a positive person in this space. With that being said, I truly feel that it is the responsibility of Mascot Bro Studio to remove Toytopia from Steam and cut ties with Combo Bomb Games. Now, Mascot Bro should cut ties with them if they are in fact a minor already. We've been over that. But setting that part aside, Mascot Bro should not continue to work with a developer that is unwilling to work on and repair a game that is completely dysfunctional. And since they are the publishers of the product, the game is released through them, they are responsible for essentially scamming anyone that pays $8 for the game. The game is available for purchase for $8, but if you do pay full price and download it, you won't be able to finish it. And the game has been completely abandoned, so there is no hope of this changing. And this is absolutely Mascot Bro's responsibility as publishers. Circus of TimTim is the only game that Mascot Bro Studio has both developed and published themselves. And I don't want to be uncharitable, but do you realize how much of a disaster a game has to be nowadays to be a competitor for the worst mascot horror game? 'Cause let me tell you, this is a competitor. I won't spend too much time actually reviewing this game because making a bad game isn't any kind of major controversy. There is much more going on that is more important to talk about, and there's no point in excessively extending this video's runtime by critiquing a pretty nothing game. And again, if you want to see me play through the game for the first time alongside some other great content creators, I'd really appreciate if you become a channel member to check that out. To give my brief thoughts, this game is insanely, hastily thrown together, and it makes for a scuffed and boring experience. The entirety of this game's runtime consists of collecting 12 tickets around this carnival while trying to stealth around and stay away from the big baby antagonist TimTim. You have a device that detects tickets, you can collect medkits around the map if you take damage, and you can escape the carnival if you get every ticket. It is so boring to just wander around this environment and eventually find tickets while merely evading a pretty simple and janky AI. And this game is Mascot Bro's most expensive, at $9 instead of $8. I also softlocked the game very easily.
This is worse than Granny Chapter 2. There's no threat. There's no real threat. You can fucking run away from him.
Where is the thing? Did I softlock the goddamn... I'm not supposed to be here, am I?
I'd have softlocked the
I'm
game.
not supposed to
keep it a stack.
Yeah, because you... I'm... What do you mean I'm not supposed to stand here? Why was it so easy, then? Hurt me.
Hi, baby.
Stop getting stuck,
You stuck on a fucking bush.
I swear to fucking God. However, the game being bad is what I care about the absolute least. No matter how bad a mascot horror game is, the least I expect is that the game has original characters. Toytopia is not a very good game, but I actually really like the main character design. Playtown isn't a very good game, and its main character design isn't great either, but at least it's there, and it is pretty cute. I kinda love how cute he is. But every single character from Circus of TimTim is from 2 cheap bundles of models from the Unity store. For the record, this is completely legal. These are models that someone made to sell, and if you purchase them and don't claim to have made them or anything, you are totally allowed to make and sell a game with them. It's just like any game using random assets that are free to use or available for purchase. But come on, man, this is a mascot horror game. The main characteristic of this genre that makes it different from any other spooky game is that it has iconic, memorable, and distinct mascots that represent the IP. Buying a pack of models for your mascot horror game is potentially the most creatively bankrupt thing I have ever seen in this space. Also, quick side note for a little goofy fun fact. This model pack that was used to create Circus of TimTim is the same one that was used to create Scream or Die, which some of you may remember as the $300 mascot horror game that is a complete scam that Steam for some reason allows. So yeah, Circus of TimTim is a mascot horror game that is being sold for $9 that doesn't have a single original asset. Thankfully, it does have some stuff, like voice acting and gameplay slightly better than a game like Scorn, but this game is an absolute tragedy for not having a single original character. However, Mascot Bro's use of this model pack goes just a little deeper, and not only that, it gets significantly funnier. Take a look at one of the 2 model packs that Mascot Bro used for this game. You see this one character? Does it look familiar to you? Mascot Bro Studio's logo is a model on the Unity store that some random guy made and released last year. I am not a professional on this, so what I'm about to say right now is purely a guess. This is not a statement based on accurate legality, because I am not sure how this actually works. I just want that to be clear. But I'm wondering, is this actually allowed? My assumption would be that purchasing this pack would allow you to use it in your work, but a logo is something that represents your brand, and Mascot Bro uses this logo all across the internet. I am unsure if this is allowed or not, but regardless, they probably just shouldn't be using this. Everyone that I talk to about this also seems to be of the opinion that this was made using AI in some way, whether AI recreated it based on the model, or if it was just put through an AI-generated filter of some sort. I cannot prove this to be true or not, but I mean, it does certainly look AI-generated. Even if you paid the price tag to use these characters, your logo, again, is something that represents your brand. Now, don't get me wrong. Buying a model from the Unity store, recreating it using AI, and using it as your logo is a pretty good representation of Mascot Bro as it stands. But is that really what you want? I repeat, is that what you really want? We had a vision where we wanted to open up a small studio where smaller indie games could have a chance of getting the recognition that they deserved with our help, all after we got declined by various other game publishers when we pitched our game. We all know how hard being a game dev is, and the majority of game publishers won't really accept your game unless it already made some noise because in the end, they are a business. We wanted to change that. We wanted to open something where we can help smaller indie games and give them a chance, considering that there are a lot of games that get no recognition at all because they are not given a chance. Our biggest priority is we genuinely want to release games that we think our audience enjoys and to help other indie developers in getting their game out there more and building a long-lasting partnership and even friendship with them. We want to be known as a game publisher that gives out smaller indie games a chance when no one did. We want to create games that we love, and we want people to enjoy them. We want your feedback, we want your criticism in order to improve, because that is a way to learn on becoming a better person and eventually a better publisher by learning from past mistakes. These are all things that Mascot Bro Studio said to me during our interview. And genuinely, and you're allowed to call me foolish for this, I genuinely believe them. I actually do believe that Mascot Bro Studio believes they are doing something good here. In theory, they are giving opportunities to some young devs that, from their point of view, would likely never have their voices heard otherwise. I respect that Mascot Bro cares about indie developers, but at some point, you have to understand that there are times where you are responsible for making the right decisions for your developers, and those decisions are not always necessarily the kind ones. If Mascot Bro's intention was truly to give people like TNP Games and Combo Bomb Games an opportunity, I think that is amazing. However, at some point, you need to realize that in the case of those two, they are not prepared for that opportunity, and they also don't really need that opportunity. They are not grown or mature enough to handle that level of responsibility, and it is irresponsible of you to continue to hand them that responsibility. This is dangerous for these kids because they are being sold a promise built on practically nothing and being put under a level of pressure that they shouldn't be at their age. What Mascot Bro is doing with Bobo's Fun Zone or Tilt is totally fine by me. Again, I don't think the devs of those games even really need the help that Mascot Bro provides, especially when you take into account the amount that Mascot Bro takes in return, but it's whatever. They can do what they want. But Unreal Games and Stop Shut Games are very clearly grown up enough to make that decision and also behave in a reasonable manner, and create something of a reasonable level of quality. Developers like TNP Games and Combo Bomb Games are simply not that. So, even if your intention was to do something good for these young developers, they have shown that you have made the wrong call, and now it is your responsibility to fix that by removing them from your company. Again, some of you watching may feel that I am foolish for having so much faith in Mascot Bro Studio. The fact that I believe what they said despite their actions is probably something a lot of you will disagree with. But here's the thing. I will change my mind on that if nothing that I brought up in this video changes after its release. I've shown you that Mascot Bro Studio has said that they take these problems seriously, that they are open to criticism, and that they care for the safety of their younger developers. Now it's a matter of proving that. I feel as though I have perfectly explained why certain devs should have their contracts terminated, and why Mascot Bro is responsible for making some big changes. If they disagree and or don't do anything to fix these issues, they will lose that respect that I have been granting them.